Alright, today I'm gonna make a track from scratch. I will start with two sounds that I created earlier in a sound design video and use them as a basis to create an entire track with different parts and an arrangement. So the first sound that I selected is the driving noise instrument. I will link down the video and also in the corner, in the top corner. It sounds like this. This was made from a vinyl sample of a scream. And the second instrument that I will use as a starting point is the noisy piano. I will also link down this video below. So it's reversed and added some noise on top of it. So let's get right into it. Let's start to create a noise bed. And also decide on the tempo. I'm going with 128 and the scale G major. Let's just pick something. So make this into a G, a noise bed. Quite low. And on top of this, maybe put some melody or some chords. So I use the scale function in Ableton to only show the notes that are in the scale that I want. Change this to 8 bars. I'll just put in something as a starting point. Create some. If I use 4 chords, I don't want to use each chord that changes at the start of 2 bars. That's a bit predictable. So this is the starting point, having some kind of broken chords from the piano and a layer of noise in the background. Now I want something that takes more presence. So I'm going to use the Sequential Prophet Rev2 synthesizer here to my right to create maybe an arpeggio or something, a sequence of some sort. So I start with the init patch. And start tweaking the sound into something. Already added delay in Ableton to this arpeggio. Oh. All right, so now that I recorded, what is it, more than 32 layers, and I tweaked with the filter cutoff while I was recording this, let's take a selection of this, maybe 8 or 16 bars, and use that. In the track. some vibrato to this sound to get a bit more wobble. Very little, of course. Let's try one thing and pitch this an octave down. I found it a bit too present. I want to dial it down a bit, so maybe with the transient shape and make it even snappier. So it is original pitch, but now the transient settings here on the left of this clip have been changed. Make it a shorter sound. The other thing is I'm going to make a fade in, so I use the utility device and then the gain to change the volume of this clip. So the first 4 bars is a fade in, then start a regular volume. And now the next thing is I want to add a bass sound. Already created this bass sound on the Rev2 as well. Very basic, but I think this could work if we follow the chord. So we do G, F sharp, E. So descending. So 3 bars, 4 bars, 1 bar. So it would sound like this. Or an octave lower would sound like this. It's maybe too low. So what I will do is just record those notes separately. And now I'll cut them up, and then I can use them to create a bass line and a bass rhythm. So I'll name them accordingly. G. Yep. So maybe I'll make them much shorter. Give them a different color so it's easier to distinguish that they're different notes. Make them mono. And let's see if I put a delay on the bass. It's kind of odd maybe. How does that sound? So filter some of the high of the bass out. So now you can already feel like there's like a groove going on. So I'm thinking I'll add a maybe a very soft kick just to accentuate the bass drive. This is the synthesized drum kit in Ableton DS drum rack. There's this nice clean kick. Put this on every beat. You can tweak here the setting so make it short. Top of that some kind of shaker to or hi-hats to have a rhythm in the top end. These are I think stock kits or free kits from Ableton that you can download. Shorter. This is very short. You can barely hear it. That's perfect. So to take this further, I am going to complete the broken chords that I have. So I have the noisy piano, which are broken chords. It's basically 2 notes out of a triad. So I'm gonna use maybe an electric piano to complete these chords in the main part. So the noisy piano sounds like this now. So it's an 8-bar loop, but basically 4 different chords. So going to Ableton, I'm going to use the Numa Player piano plugin. It's a free VST, I will link down below. And I'm going to copy the clip of the chords, give it the same color. So now it plays the same. It plays the same notes as the noisy piano, but that's not what we want. But just to make it easier for myself, so I am first going to change the instruments. Perhaps go with an electric piano. The Wurlitzer 200. And then let's see, so we're in the key of G major, so it's G, B, D is a triad. And this could be like this. Make them shorter. So this F should be on top, but it's below. That's fine. And then here, yeah, like this. So together with the piano. add some effects to the electric piano. So an auto pan to create more stereo spreads, some reverb. And one of my favorites is the Redux. Actually, maybe not, because the piano is already noisy. So this part with the beat and the bass and the synth, it doesn't really come out, so I'm gonna use this for a second part. Or this could be later, the first part, depends, like I can move it around later. To do something about the velocity of these chords, because now every note and every chord is played at the same volume. So now that I have these two parts, they need to transition into each other some way. So as I'm composing the track, I'm also starting to arrange different parts so I don't get stuck into one 8-bar loop and only play that over and over again. And this is the fun part, I think, to move these blocks around and trying to figure out some arrangements so that the song evolves and it's not just a static loop. First bring in the bass and then the drums. part 3, which is called transition. It's not really transition. Take track 2 the noise away and also change the actual chords of the noisy piano. To create just more empty space for the electric piano chords to come out. Then this needs to go on for at least another 8 bars before returning. Then in the second part, which is labeled as 5 now, I can bring in another instrument to play part of these chords, or like a melody of it, on it. Perhaps a synthesizer. Perhaps the same sound as I used here. If I play give this a different color because it's a different melody. And place and pitch it down 1 octave. Maybe together with some kind of reversed cymbal. A bit cliche, but it works. Especially with a massive reverb on it. go back to part 2, the drums. So there's a kick. So we have quite some parts of this track already, but one thing that is missing is when the chords are playing with the piano and the electric piano, there is no bass. So that's this part. And it feels very empty, especially in the low end. So I'm going to add a sub bass from using Operator in Ableton to create something of the low end when the synth bass is not playing. So I'm going to load up another MIDI track. Take out the simpler and put an operator there. Here, the sub sign. Give it a different color. Sub bass. So this is a really solid low bass. And it's going to follow the chords. So a G. Let's zoom in. So this is a trick I often use just to beef up the low end. If I want bass, but I don't want like an instrument to be sort of present. Let's put it in scale mode. I have to change the release of this instrument because now it's immediately dead. And lower the volume. Without. And then with. Just to check if I'm actually in the right octave. If I played one octave lower, then I'm at 45 hertz. That's very low. That's unnecessary for this kind of track, I mean. Then this bass, the synth bass, oh, 90. So it's kind of in the same ballpark. So that's not too bad. thing I wanted to change is the intro. And the synth coming later. So the fade in starts here, so the first 4 bars is just, I can deactivate the clip. Insert an extra 8 bars here, because then I think this is sort of the new main loop. Before the break. Maybe add another percussion element to emphasize the importance here of this loop. Um, 707. The tambourine, could that be something? Rim shot doesn't sound particularly good. Beat. After this is the break, basically, these 16 bars, then we get back to the drums here in 2, 3, and the main loop, and repeat the main loop. So let's get into extending this arrangement, because now we have part 1, we have the break, but now we need to go to part 2 and add even more instruments to really emphasize the climax of the track, if you want to go that way. So I like to put in markers that I know to 3, which parts are similar, and then the main loop. The main loop we're going to repeat here. That could be then the ending, start of the ending. It's 89. This could be the end. Kind of have to keep an overview. So the bass. Like that. See, I copied part 2, all the layers, part 3, the main loop, double the main loop, and then the outro. So I extended in the end one long chord, change the bass to longer notes. So now I have a pretty good skeleton of a track. I will continue to work on this track. There's a lot of details that can be added, but as a basis, I think this is for the amount of time also pretty good. So I will just give a quick walk through what we have so far. So in total there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 layers of different sounds. So we started with the driving noise instrument created in an earlier video and the noisy piano. Then I added some synth sounds from the Sequential Prophet Rev2, some chords from the electric piano, sub bass, and then some basic drums. The point was to keep it minimal. And then I worked on the arrangement. So as you see, there are many different parts, some repeats, there's a break, there's a part 2. One thing to do is to, in the second chorus here in the end, to add more instruments to emphasize the chords and the melody. But for now I will leave it with this, and I will play the whole thing just so you can see what the results so far is. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.